How was that? Everybody, welcome to Beer Bros History Hour. And my brother bailed on me right when we started. That's nice. Well, we were going to talk about, let's give it a minute and see if he comes back, but we were going to just do a kind of a bullshit session, current events and what's going on around the world today. Oh, there he is. The fuck, Ronnie.
I don't know, Andy. My phone fucked up. My bad.
Yeah. So I already said basically what we're going to talk about, current events and shit going on.
Yep.
Or
Wolverines.
Wolverine. Hey, so uh, with all the train derailments and chemical fires all around the fucking world and allied nations and like at least 10 of them here in this country going on as we speak,
Yeah, didn't one of
seems
your
a little bit like we're under attack, doesn't it?
didn't some of your Tom Clancy books get into some of that stuff?
Not chemical fires.
Sabotage leading up to the main event.
Not the ones that I've read.
No.
Not chemical fires. Biological weapon, yeah. Not not sabotage and chemical fires though.
Yeah. Well,
So
I can't remember what I read a couple of books where was a guy who's like ex special forces was talking about it, and that's one of the things he talked about in the book was Russian, if it was, with the assumption that it was going to be Russia, was Russian Spetsnaz teams of them infiltrating and conducting sabotage operations, across America.
well, who knows with all the multitudes of people that Biden has unceremoniously allowed across the border. Who knows who came in? Could have
Well,
been
right.
could
I
have been
seen a
teams of
video
those
the other
people.
day. I saw a video the other day where a private citizen was down there on the border and asking people where they're coming from. Almost none of them are Hispanic. You know, they're all Asian and Eastern European and shit like that. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So it's reasonable to think that there could be enemy soldiers in plain clothes hidden amongst those people.
Oh, absolutely, because the one thing they all have in common, all the people that were there trying to get across the border, they're all military age males.
Well, not all of them, but a vast majority of them.
Well, all the ones in the video I'm talking about, they were military age males.
Yep. And actually, I just heard the same thing on another podcast. He interviewed this guy. He interviewed another guy that had just came back from Panama, and I guess there's a little pass through the jungle there between two highways,
Yeah.
and it's like a 60 mile. It's like 60 miles through the jungle with no road. And this guy is like ex special forces or whatever, so he was down there watching that pass for like a week, and he said he saw hundreds, probably even close to 1,000 of Chinese looking guys, military age guys, fit, military looking in plain clothes with weapons coming north.
Yep. Well, it's like that thing you were talking, like that you used to talk about it years ago about the Chinese staged down in Mexico and Central America, like thousands of armored vehicles and you fucking name it.
Oh yeah, there's a grip of them.
Like they're staged down there. I mean, I don't know if it's manned or if the equipment's just there, but it's all staged. It's ready.
Plus, doesn't China control the Panama Canal? I
I
think they
don't think
do.
so. Last I knew, we controlled it, but
No, we gave it up fucking decades ago. I don't remember who has control of it now, though.
Why were we down there fucking tearing apart Panama in the early 90s for Noriega?
Oh, I don't know.
Or the 80s, whenever that was.
I think it was the 80s. But
When the 101st Airborne went down there and shit.
yeah, that reminds me of the movie Anger Management, when he's in the anger management class or whatever, and that guy's like having like a flashback about the war or whatever, and he's like, wasn't that Panama? He's like, didn't that last like an hour? And he's like, yeah, but it was the most intense hour ever or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know. I've seen like the videos. There's one video, it's a video I've seen all over the place where they're interviewing one of the guys after the raid or whatever, and he's describing what he did, and he's like, yeah, we went into this building, and they kind of barricaded themselves in, and locked the door, and we used about a pound of 2 or 3 pounds of C4 or whatever the fuck it was to
Oh
breach
yeah.
the door. And he's like, well, isn't that a little overkill? He's like laughing. He's like, there's no such thing.
He's like, yeah, there's no such thing as overkill. Yep. Overkill is underrated.
Yeah, because he's like, when he said when they blew it to blow the door, they took like half the building down.
Yep. But
And he's like smiling and laughing about it. He's like, he thinks it's funny.
yeah,
Oh
so
man.
anyway, I think that these with the food processing plants, the chip plants, and these train derailments and the oil refinery fires, I think all of this are the pretty much the opening salvos of a direct attack on the US. That's what I think.
No, absolutely. I've been hearing some people talking about how when history is written, I think you're going to come to find out that the train derailment in Ohio and the subsequent burning off of all the shit in the cars and stuff, that it's going to be considered a disaster equal to, if not greater than, Chernobyl.
Well, yeah, did that fucking toxic plume make it over Maine?
It made it like to over the southern tip of Maine. I don't think it came up this high.
Yeah, well, it went north, like up into Canada, north of Maine. I was wondering if it actually made it into Maine or not.
Oh, I never went out in the morning and found ash on my truck or anything, so I don't know. I didn't find any shit on out there. I never smelled anything.
But anyway,
I have
fucking
no idea.
what I've been hearing is that the toxins, not only in the air, like pretty much the whole northeast US and the Ohio River Valley, are going to be completely contaminated for the next like 500 years.
Yeah, I believe it.
So because this fucking what do they call it, dioxins or something, which is what you get as a byproduct when you burn
Well, vinyl chloride.
a vinyl chloride.
Yeah.
That shit, they said it doesn't have a half-life like radioactive material does. That shit'll just get into the soil and the groundwater and it'll just stay there.
Hmm. Oh, it's got a half life. It's just probably got a very long half life.
Yeah.
Everything has a half life. Gold, lead, you fucking name it. It all does.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a real long time before that shit is at a safe level, especially around the affected area.
In fact, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right from my chemistry and physics classes, that after gold goes through its half life, the half that has expired from its half life that is no longer gold becomes lead.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I seem to remember that somewhere, learning that in school.
So then could you enrich lead and turn it into gold?
I think that's what alchemists have been trying to do for a long time.
So yeah, so then you got what do you got? You got chemical fires and derailments in, was it Chicago? I think it was Michigan, Washington State, Ohio, Florida, Oklahoma, and
Yeah,
Arizona.
what was the one that just burned in Florida in this past week? The big
It was
one.
like some kind of a metal plant or something, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, that one was I heard that one was bad.
I bet.
Burned the whole thing to the ground. But
Yeah.
all the shit that was throwing up in the air.
Yeah, but Ronnie, think about it this way: metal plants and lumber yards and all kinds of stuff. It's kind of hard to build defenses and tanks and ammunition when you don't have metal or plants to process the metal.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to feed your people when there's no plants to process it, and you've fucked up the supply chain so badly they can't distribute it even if they do process it.
Yeah,
So
and then
I
it's
mean,
kind of hard. It's kind of hard to distribute supplies like that when you don't have any refineries capable of making diesel fuel to power the trucks that transport that shit.
well, look at the whole thing with the rail companies, the railroad unions almost went on strike a few months ago.
Yeah,
We were very, very close to the railroad across this country shutting down in a strike, and no nothing, no freight was going to move anywhere. I mean, yeah, trucks move shit around, but the trains move the shit to the major distribution centers where it gets moved to the smaller distribution centers, and then the trucks bring it out to market. But
yeah,
the trains are the big mover, and we almost had them shut down.
yeah. And then have you heard about these random fucking chemical train cars just parked in the middle of farmland all across Middle America?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that my whole life. I've seen random rail cars all over the place.
Yeah, but people who have lived in these areas their entire lives are saying that this shit isn't normal.
Oh, so they're saying that wasn't there, and just one day it was there.
Yep,
Well, okay, so that's different then.
yep, that's what they're saying.
Hey, what do you think of that book we were talking about earlier? The beginning, with the first salvo on the attack of the United States was infiltrators planted a nuclear bomb in the Yellowstone caldera to
Oh,
set off.
the what was that? United States of Apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
By Mark Tufo.
Hmm.
Yep, trying to set off the super volcano.
You think that's plausible? Where a group of infiltrators could smuggle it in a nuclear weapon in pieces, assemble it, and plant it in the caldera of a super volcano to attempt to set off an eruption.
I think it's possible, but I don't think they'd be able to set it off on the surface. They'd have to get it underground a certain distance, especially depending on how deep the magma chamber is.
Yeah,
Who
and
knows?
the other thing that you got to think about too, I guess, is where it's a super volcano. It's not just a threat to the United States. If there was an eruption of that super volcano, that's a global extinction level event. Like, I mean, you're basically attacking yourselves too by
Well, yeah,
proxy.
it would darken the skies for like 2 years.
Well, yeah, and it would probably more than that. Ash tends to hang up in the sky for a long time. But
Well, I mean, it would be similar to a giant meteor strike.
all it wouldn't even take 2 years. All you need is 1 year where it was too cold and it ruined all the crops, and famine would kill hundreds of millions of people,
Probably more than that.
maybe even billions. But
I think some of the third world countries would probably come through it pretty good because most of them still have basic survival and farming skills.
yeah,
Like
yeah, and they don't have big supermarkets and distribution centers. They get what they have off the land, but
their
at the
crops would
same
sell too.
time, their crops wouldn't grow either. and they can't feed their animals, so they ain't living off their animals either. So they would be struggling too.
Well,
And
probably like the villages, like the smaller villages that live on the coastlines, who live primarily off of fish, they'd probably make it through.
yeah, maybe, except that, the global temperature drop from the sun being blocked out is also going to lower ocean temperatures, and the fish that are used to warmer waters are probably going to die as well.
Well,
And
humanity made it through the last ice age, so I'm pretty sure that we would make it through this one as well eventually.
yeah, actually, I kind of wonder if an event like the Yellowstone eruption could trigger the next ice age that would last,
Oh, I'm sure it would. I'm
or
sure it
even a
would.
mini ice age that would last a few hundred years.
It's possible.
That would, I don't know. That'd be interesting to
I mean, during the last one,
explore.
I mean, there were glaciers as far south as fucking Mexico, like
Hmm.
midway down through Mexico. So yeah, and then oh, what else, dude? There's all kinds of shit going on. I was actually looking
Well,
at
the whole southwestern United States used to be underwater, used to be part of the ocean, and I know that because being stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, when we used to go out to the training grounds, and I got a baggie of them somewhere. I took a bunch of there's marine fossils everywhere, littering the ground all over the training area, and it's all across the state of Texas is marine fossils as far as you can see, and you can see them. They're laying all over the ground.
yeah. So what's your take on the what's going on in Ukraine right now?
I think the news is lying. I think the Russians are winning and the Nazis are losing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I think Russia's just like they've already started their major offensive. Um, but now I think they're bringing their more modern weapons to play when
yeah. The
they're
the Russians need to stop fucking around. They need to go in there like the United States would have went in there and just hit them with everything they got and end it.
huh,
That's the Russians as far as like public opinion goes and optics. That's where the Russians made their mistake. You see, they should have went in there like the United States does, shock and awe, hit them with fucking everything. Go in there with 1,000,000 men and just do it, end it in a day. Not this long drawn out year and a half. Like, I don't know. I mean, see, like the U.S. went into Iraq, or we went into Afghanistan. Yeah, we had lengthy occupations and fighting in insurgency, but the proper war against military troops was over quickly.
yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking through this thing right here, and
That's what I would have done. But see, I'm a brute force tactician, so I mean my thing is that everything looks like a nail to a hammer, so I'm gonna hit it with the biggest sledgehammer I can find. you know, I can't help it. If I get 1,000,000 men, I'm gonna use 1,000,000 men. If I have $1.5 million, if I have 100,000, I'm gonna use everything I got.
Yeah. Hey, Ronnie, since when do military bases sell guns to troops under 25 years old, or to any troops for that matter?
What?
There's an article here from the New York Post. This shows you how retarded they are.
Isn't the No, guns are sensitive items. You
Yeah,
can't
I know
take
that.
military weapons.
Here's the headline from the New York Post. Pentagon panel says military bases should stop selling guns to troops under 25 to prevent suicides.
What the fuck is wrong with them?
I know. I'm pretty sure the military doesn't sell guns to fucking their troops.
No, I'm pretty sure having been in the military, and my brother too, he can vouch for this, that if you dropped your weapon out in the field and didn't know it, if you lost it off the side of a vehicle, or not even your weapon, if you lost a pair of night vision goggles out in the field, it's friggin' hands across America. You're not going to base until that item is recovered.
Yep.
So you're not going to tell me that they're selling weapons. That's bullshit on its face.
Yeah, just
No
right
way.
there, the fact that the headline said the military needs to stop selling weapons to troops. The military doesn't do that. So, right away it just
Nope, they're full of shit.
stopped me from reading the article because it was retarded.
What was it? The New York Times?
Yeah, no, the New York Post.
Okay, the New York Post is the more moderate one, right? Because the New York Times is a liberal rag.
Yeah, the New York Slimes, the toilet paper of record.
Yeah, the New York Post is more center line, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think
it
so.
still leans left, but it's closer to center.
It's still a left-wing rag though.
I still find it, yeah. Anything that's not right of center is a left wing rag, but
Yeah, pretty much.
well, these days it wasn't always so, but these days, absolutely.
Well,
I,
I mean, according to the left these days, if you're anything fucking right of Mao, you're a fucking bitter clinger and a MAGA conservative.
Christ, these days to the left wing crazies in this country,
Yeah.
Mao is too far right.
Yeah. That's fair, I guess.
Nah, it's not fair. It's fact. A lot of
Also,
these people, they're
um,
nuts.
what do you think's going on with this fucking weather, dude? Have you seen what's been going on in Southern California? It's fucking snowing everywhere.
I saw a little blurb about that. Now, I actually meant to ask you a couple days ago if you got any snow down there.
Not where I'm at. I didn't get any snow. It was all rain for me, but LA got dumped on. All the mountains and even some of the smaller foothills around me got snow.
Are you north of LA?
South.
Oh,
Well,
you're south of LA.
southeast. Yeah.
That's weird. So how
Dude,
much snow did they get?
I've never seen a storm like this since I've lived here, and I've been here since 2010.
How much snow did LA get?
Well, not much by the Northeast standards, but for LA, it's unprecedented.
What did they get?
I don't know. I know
I
that got a
I
bunch
I
of
mean,
shit.
I heard some estimates for the rainfall out of that storm of being like three to 6 inches of rain. So like if I mean that equated to snowfall in
Well,
the
here,
areas
this
that
is
it
a
was gonna.
picture. This is a picture outside of LA. So you
It
can see
looks like they got a
it's,
few inches.
it's basically a wet, slushy mess.
Yeah, that shit sucks too.
Yeah.
Even in my truck with four-wheel drive and good all-terrain tires on it, that shit sucks to drive in.
Dang, there's the LA River.
It's all that snow melt.
Yep. Oh, the Hollywood sign didn't get snowed on. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. This weather's weird though. Very weird.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a few years ago back in like 2007, I think, in April of 2007. Um, we got we got like 5 or 6 inches of snow in central Texas, at Fort Hood.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, they shut the base down. No one was allowed. They told that no one to drive or whatever. My squad leader called me, and I happened to be actually I was driving to go to Blockbuster because I was bored and I was going on a beer run. And he could hear that I was driving because he could hear the car, and I was like, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing out driving? You had, what? I told you not to fucking go anywhere. We told everyone not to go anywhere." And I was like, you forget where I'm from, don't you?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, everyone I talked to that were locals that had lived there, their whole lives, said they had never even seen snow there, let alone 6 inches of it.
Yeah. Moderate snow to take over Oak Hills, California until February 6th or 26th. Yeah, I don't know, man. This snow in Southern California. I mean, every year we get like a flurry here and there, but never a fucking storm like this. This I don't I've never seen anything like this since I've lived here.
Yeah, I don't know, Andy. It's kind of weird. It really, really sounds like that global warming. See, the thing is that, they don't, if you notice, they transitioned away from that because they call it climate change now. Because, back in the 70s, they were calling for a new ice age and they were talking about global cooling. And then, late 80s, getting into the 90s, they started talking about global warming. We're all going to boil to death. And now, because none of that happened, we didn't have a new ice age and we haven't boiled to death yet. Now they've transitioned into, climate change. They
Oh,
can't say specifically if it's going to get hotter or colder, but everything bad that happens, it's climate change.
yep. And have you seen that new series, The Last of Us, on HBO?
I just watched the first episode of it, but
Yeah,
I
and
haven't
did you notice
really got into
did
it
you
yet.
notice the narrative in it?
Mm-hmm.
Due to climate change, this fungus has come out of the fucking jungle and started infecting people.
Yeah.
Well, here's an article right here. Expert says the zombie fungus from The Last of Us is real. So you see the narrative coming now?
Yeah, because the Fauci ouchie they gave everybody is probably going to do that, and they're already getting ahead of it to put the cover story out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about the Fauci ouchie. There was this one guy talking about the little nano capsules that are in the shots are loaded with Marburg virus, which would explain the Marburg outbreaks that are going on right now in was it Central America or something? Or
Yeah, well, why don't you enlighten us on what Marburg is and what it does and what the symptoms are?
well, it's a close cousin of Ebola. It's a hemorrhagic fever. And I think it has like I don't remember, but I think it has like an 80% kill rate.
Is that the one that I heard that had like a zombie outbreak potential to it too?
I think before the infected person dies, I think they get delirious and I think they can get violent. But I
And
don't think
start eating faces and stuff like they're on bath salts?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Hmm. Okay.
But
I don't know. See, I've heard all the conspiracy theories. Like one of them, it wasn't Marburg, then it was something else that they said was in that shot. That That was the zombie outbreak capsule that 5G was going to release and all that shit.
Yep.
But we're getting deep into conspiracy territory, and I think the sea's getting foamy. So,
Well, this is kind of a bullshit session, so we're allowed to let the sea get foamy this time.
oh,
We're
I think we need to present the president with the papers.
I mean, dude, we're like fucking Lieutenant Dan on the friggin' on the fishing boat out there in that storm. Come on, is that the best you got? It's time for a showdown. You and me.
Andy,
What?
I think this soundbite you have of the general is going to will be me with this whole thing, with the zombie outbreak.
Probably.
Oh, that's your executive order authorizing full use of our nuclear deterrent, sir.
Yeah.
Crazy, I'm not going to start a war. We're already at war.
Yeah. Well, the fact is we are at war.
Yeah, we are, even though it's kind of a proxy war, but
I think even Dan Bongino is talking about it. He says,
I never thought I'd hear it. Even Dan Bongino is starting to has for the last few months started coming around and realizing the real deal with the Fauci ouchie.
yeah, but I mean, I think it was either his newest episode or the one before that, he was talking about how we're already like World War III is already started. That we're already well underway. It just hasn't kicked off big yet.
Yeah, I know, and he always follows that or any of the other stuff up with where he says, "You think I'm bullshitting you? I brought receipts."
Oh my goodness. Popular Mechanics 17 hours ago. China built a hypersonic generator that could power unimaginable weapons.
Hypersonic generator?
Yep. That's what it says.
What? So a generator that flies through the air at hypersonic speed?
I don't know what it means, but
The hell does that mean?
no, let's take a gander here. Turning gas into plasma creates an intense electrical current for powering potent hypersonic weapons. Chinese researchers built a hypersonic generator that could power military lasers, railguns, and microwave weapons. The relative compact nature of the hypersonic generator opens the scope of potential uses. Chinese scientists say one formidable explosion inside a shock tunnel can turn hot gas into the most powerful hypersonic generator a military has ever seen. Strong enough to charge military lasers, railguns, microwave weapons, and more.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Well, if China has it, chances are we had it first because they steal all of their technology from us.
No, that much is for sure. That China has never had an original thought in their head. That's why they have to steal everything from us.
Yeah, they've been ripping off our military technology for decades. Anything they have now, we had it first.
Yep. I'll hand it to the Russians, though. The Russians have some original shit.
It just started raining wicked hot again. I can hear it.
The Russians haven't ripped off as much of our shit as the Chinese had.
Yeah. The Russians, most of the Russians shit is totally their own design and their own fucking technology, most of it.
Yeah, even their own Fauci ouchie. They didn't take the Fauci ouchie. They made their own. So
yeah, but unfortunately for Russia and most of the rest of the world that bought Russian weapons and tanks and shit like that, is their shit is not as good as ours.
no, and our shit is specifically designed to destroy that shit. So
Exactly. But you know, that shit, and Putin knows it. That's what makes Russia so dangerous to us, because if we get if we get into a fight directly with them, they're just he's just going to go straight to nukes. It may start small with, you know, battlefield tactical nukes, but you know, that's a slippery slope and it would escalate quickly, in my opinion. And we'll just end up in
no,
a full strategic exchange.
the first battlefield tactical nuke that's detonated on our soldiers, and it'll be a full-on nuclear exchange.
Yep.
There won't be any question. It'll be shoot first, ask questions later. It'll be over.
I agree.
They're not going to use nukes. I mean, Putin. I don't know. Putin is not that fucking stupid. Now, the North Koreans, yeah, I don't think China's that stupid, but I think the North Koreans are. If anyone sparks off a nuclear war, I think it'll be the North Koreans
Honestly though,
or the Iranians. The Iranians might too. But
I don't I'm starting to think that, you know, I don't think they want to use nukes in any capacity, because I think they want to take us in one piece. I think they're going to find a way, because I mean, if all these derailments and infrastructure attacks in the US that I believe are attacks with our distribution centers and refineries and the chemical, the chemical train derailments and fires, I think it's all meant to weaken us. And I think eventually, when we're sufficiently weak, I think they're going to attempt an invasion.
right, and they're probably going to come up across the southern border. I mean, if you really look at it, you got the BRICS nations. Well, the BRICS nations, the first letter in that word B is Brazil.
Yep.
They could stage there, but unfortunately, they're going to have to do that in secret, and they're going to have to do it pretty damn quickly before anything kicks off. Because if any war between NATO and BRICS kicks off, BRICS is sitting there in South America, not too far from us, with their ass hanging in the breeze because all their allies are halfway around the world.
Yep. Pretty much.
So I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, the only way that's going to work it to the BRICS favor is if they have everything staged and they launch a surprise attack from Brazil to kick it off.
Yeah, but that's a long haul for a land-based invasion to stage.
No, yeah, absolutely. And if they came over land, they're definitely. I mean, I'd be surprised if we didn't, catch it and see the invasion coming thousands of miles before it fucking came. I mean, as soon as they left Brazil, we'd probably even see them staging.
Unless they do what I think they're going to do, which which I'm writing about in my book. If they blind us first, then what could we do?
Is that
Never
EMP
see it
gonna
coming.
is that EMP gonna blind all our satellites though too?
Possibility. But anyways, China and Russia both have demonstrated anti-satellite weapons. They could shoot down our satellites.
Yes, so have we. We have anti-satellite shit
Okay,
too.
but if they take out all of ours and blind us with EMPs at the same time, what would we use to fucking see with?
And they're not going to destroy our military equipment with an EMP because a lot of that stuff is hardened.
Yeah,
Most
but
of our essential shit is hardened.
Still, if you blind your enemy, how can he fight you? He can't coordinate coast to coast.
If your enemy can't see, he can't fight.
Old lesson from Karate Kid. If your enemy can't breathe, he can't fight. I think whatever they do, it'll be all at once. It'll be quick, and And I think it'll be totally incapacitating as far as coordination and communication goes. If you can't communicate and you can't coordinate with forces over any distance, it's going to be hard to respond to a mass attack coming up from the south.
So you think the EMP would fry all our Blue Force tracker and all that shit, huh?
It's possible.
No, I don't know. I'm sure that's all old hat now, but back when I was in the military, Blue Force tracker was new shit. It was classified. You weren't even supposed to talk about it. So
Yeah. Well, every Humvee that we had the Blue Force tracker system in it.
we had only one Humvee in our platoon had Blue Force tracker. That was mine. My Humvee had Blue Force tracker. Everyone else had whatever system it was prior to Blue Force tracker in it. I don't remember what that is, but
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think all of ours had them. We never used them,
I
though.
mean, you were a year later over there.
We never used them though. We turned them on, but we rarely ever even looked at them.
Yeah, no, they were on, but we didn't. Yeah, we didn't really use them either. I mean, because no one had them. It was hard to. I mean, I would, you know, in downtime when we were out on an Overwatch or something, I would sit and fuck around with it and you know go over the map and see where I could see like different equipment and shit that was powered up and where it was all over the country, but you can't like almost no vehicles had it at that time. There were very few, so it was kind of pointless.
Yeah. But kind of going back to what I was saying right now, you know, we got, to me, seems like active sabotage events. There's at least 10 of them right now in the US. Then you add the ones around the world and our allies. There's one in Italy that happened just recently, France, the Netherlands, and I think there was something was going on in Australia too. I think it's like, and this is all just in the past like week and a half.
Yeah, I know it's coming. They're burning everything down. Food distribution, processing, munitions processing. What was the one in where was it? Was it in Finland or was it somewhere else? The munitions factory that fucking blew up and burned down. It was a NATO country,
I
and
can't remember what that
people
was.
were speculating that the Russians had hit it.
Yeah, I don't remember where that was. I don't think Finland is Finland in NATO now. Did they get
I
a?
don't think so. No, I can't remember what country it was. It was over there in Europe though, and a factory that makes munitions burned down.
Yeah,
And there were people that were saying that the Russians, which I'm sure is all pop propaganda, but they were saying that the Russians hit it.
yeah, but you know what I'm thinking. You know, one or two of these things over, say, like a 6 or 8 month period. Yeah, I could accept that as coincidence. But like 15 or 20 of them in the course of a week, it's not a coincidence.
Oh no, and it's been going on for 2 or 3 years now. And
Yeah,
they want to they want you to think that, you know, this is all business as usual. It's not. Our infrastructure, our supply chain is systematically being dismantled,
yep.
and you don't hear a fucking word about it other than it's happening, but they spin it like it's some kind of an accident.
Yeah,
It's
definitely not an accident.
it's too frequent and too many to be coincidence.
I would agree with that assessment.
Nobody, I don't get it. Have you ever? I mean, how could we be sitting on a plane where the pilot actively wants to drive the plane into the ground? It's like,
Yeah, you know what isn't burning down? Amazon warehouses, Microsoft plants, Apple plants, like all these
Yep.
big corporations, they're not burning down. But our
Nope.
critical infrastructure is.
Yep. And actually, it might be a good time, since we're talking about all this stuff, and talking about the thing that you're writing with the EMP stuff. Dave has been talking about it for years. He's told me about it, how this think tank lobbies the government constantly, and they've been doing it for 15, 20 years now, about hardening this country's electrical grid against EMPs. And they crunched the numbers, and this think tank was able to figure that they could harden the entire country's electrical grid for the cost of one Navy destroyer. And the government, they won't do it. Congress will not do it.
Yeah, it's because they're all complicit.
No, and that leads me to believe that EMP is the plan, because they're obviously in on it, and they know if they harden the grid against EMP that it ruins their plan, so they won't do it, because they're in on it. They want to burn the world to the ground and rule over the ashes.
Yeah, but
It's insane.
I know, but think about this. What has been the one main deterrent for anybody attempting to invade the United States? The Second Amendment. Everybody
You and
has a
me
gun.
with guns.
Right. So what would be the best way to ensure that at least you establish a secure beachhead? You'd have to take out communications, and without communications and power electronics, it'd take out all modern vehicles. It would take out cell phones, radios, TVs, internet. You'd have nothing, absolutely nothing to communicate with. You could not
No,
coordinate or transfer information coast to coast quickly. They'd have a beachhead set up. They'd be offloading tanks and gear, and nobody outside of, say, 100-mile radius would have any idea what's going on.
yeah, but see, they don't even need to go about that. All they need to do is launch that EMP, destroy the electrical grid to the whole country, and just sit back and wait.
What if they don't want to wait?
Because it wouldn't take. They could wait. They could wait 6 months or a year when 80% of the population is gone, because we're a first world country that has no survival skills, and 90% of the population would be dead within the first 6 months. And then they invade, and they only have to deal with the last 10%.
Yeah, but like you said, most of our military gear and critical military sites are hardened against those attacks. That would give us time to retaliate.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because our military is absolutely included in that percentage of the population that's going to die, because where's the food going to come from?
Oh, military's got stocks. They've got.
They can't move. They can't move it around.
True.
Not with any efficiency, because the EMP knocked out all the trucks. It knocked out the trains. It knocked out everything. Where are they going to move it? How are they going to move it?
We'll just unpack some of those old steam engines.
Yeah, take them out of mothball, the steam engines from the 1800s. Yeah. I'm sure those are still sitting in mothballs somewhere.
Yeah, I got a buddy here, a little older than me. His name's Ron, and we were talking about this very subject, and I was talking to him. I'm like, what do you think we should do if this shit happens and stuff, and we don't have a way to like say like there's no fuel or whatever, and he's talking about building like a wood gasifier, and I'm like, yeah, how are you gonna do that? Oh, I got some 55-gallon drums and stuff like that. I'm like, you act like it's so easy. I'm like,
what the hell is a wood gasifier?
you're talking about burning wood without actually burning it. Like when you heat wood, to a temperature, a certain temperature, like where it should ignite, but it can't because there's not enough oxygen to ignite it. It releases a flammable gas that you can then collect and burn in a combustion engine.
Okay.
But
I'd never heard of that.
how
I mean,
like unless you've done it before or you know somebody who knows how to build it, I don't see where that would be helpful. You'd probably just end up blowing yourself up trying it.
well, it seems pretty self-explanatory. You put the wood in something that's pretty well airtight. It may ignite for a minute, but it's going to eat up all the oxygen, and then that gas is going to fill whatever container it's in.
Yeah, but you're talking about a pressure vessel here with a
Well, then you got to have some type of
highly
a
flammable
tube.
gas.
You got to have some type of a tube for the gas to escape. And it goes down into another container where you capture the gas.
All I'm saying is your work while building it better be fucking flawless, because if you get a leak, you're gonna have an explosion.
Well, I mean, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
There might be a slight ringing in your ears, but fortunately for you, you won't be anywhere near them.
Yeah. You'll just yeet your entire body into a million pieces.
Yep, totally atomized, reduced to your most basic elements.
Yeah. Anybody listening to this, I suggest you start buying food. You better have at least a year's worth of food.
I don't have a day's worth of food. I should, but I don't. Not of my own.
I suggest you get going on that, Ronnie.
Oh, I'm going to.
I'm too far away to help, so
My tax returns are coming. And if I need anything, there'll be plenty lying on the ground. I got guns and ammo.
yeah, that's why I'm not too worried about guns, because there's going to be plenty laying around before too long after the shit hits the fan. The boogaloo will come.
Yeah, Boogalations 321.
Oh man. Well, so much for the
Boogaloo side quest number 32.
so much for our episode on the USS Maine tonight.
Oh, we'll get to it eventually whenever Ben can stay awake long enough to do it, because old man's going to be in bed by 7:00.
Right? Oh man.
You talk shit about me when I want to go to bed and it's midnight, 1:00 in the morning, and you guys, oh, old man. Ben can't even stay
That's
awake.
usually just me. That's not Ben.
Ben can't even stay awake till friggin' 8:00 at night.
I got up at 2:00 this morning to go to work.
Whatever. I used to do that all the time.
It's now 9:00 at night almost.
I used to go out on a lobster boat. I get up at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And be down there at the dock at like 3, and get out, and we're steaming out to go start setting traps and pulling traps at sunrise at 6 a.m.
Fuck that. I'm all set.
And then after all that too, you're out on the boat for a 14-hour day and come in. You get into work and it's dark, and this is summertime hours too. You get in there when it's dark, and you leave and it's been dark for a long time too.
I know a guy I work with. He went up to Alaska. I think it was one summer to go out on the fishing boats up there in the Bering Sea. Dude,
How
no,
do you like that?
no way you'd get my ass out there.
100-foot fucking waves.
He said the boat captains are like fucking slave drivers.
I believe it. It's like that on a little fucking lobster boat, for Christ's sake. I mean, you go out and it's not. It has something to do with it being considered like agriculture or something. I don't know how it works, but a fishing vessel, a commercial fishing vessel, is not subject to your typical labor laws.
Well, yeah,
They're not required to give you a break. You're not required to have a meal break. You go out and you hit it, and you're working balls to the wall till it's done.
yeah,
And you have about as much time as it takes to get from one set of traps to another, which is usually, a couple of minutes, to shove a mouthful of food in your mouth and take a swig of water. And that's about what you get.
yeah. I'm all set with that. I'm not working under those conditions.
And you're balls to the wall for 14, 15 hours a day. I've been there. I did it for months, and that was enough. I had enough, and work got slow. We got into the winter. We weren't going out very much, and I wasn't making enough to pay the bills, and I moved on.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Luckily, during the summer, because the pay was actually really good, I saved up enough to last for a little while when stuff got slow, but it had been slow for so long, I ran out of money. So I mean, it is what it is, but
Oh yeah.
I don't care. I ain't looking back. I'm doing what I'm doing now, and I'm making good money doing it.
Yeah. No, so Iran's out there flexing its muscles too. Iran says new long-range cruise missile can hit U.S. ships within 1,000 miles.
Oh, that's cute.
I remember my first beer.
Right? I mean, Iran made cruise missiles that can reach 1,000 miles. That's cute.
Yeah, the ones I'm concerned with are the Russian, was it the low angle hypersonics that they have? They pretty much travel
Yeah,
back to the Earth.
yeah, they fly in nap of the earth at like Mach, what is it, Mach 5, Mach 6.
Yeah, something like that.
Where it is.
So basically, when it clears the horizon, you got like less than a second before it hits you. Not even enough time for those Sea Whiz systems to engage the target.
Yeah, basically, there's no defense for them. Like by the time your target acquisition systems are able to acquire the target, they don't have time to engage it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. That's why I said they like on some of those ships out there, they should mount some fucking 155s on the deck with the shooting fucking what do they call it now? It's not cluster shot. What do they call it? Like just turn them into big shotguns.
Oh, flechette.
Yeah. Just turn them into big shotguns.
Yeah, that's from the Vietnam era on the M60s.
Yeah, but
They outlawed that round by the Geneva Convention. They're not allowed to use
yeah,
tank
I
rounds
know.
as
What I'm
personnel.
saying is they should mount some 155s on the decks of those ships to use them for missile defense. I think they would work out well.
Maybe if you could put enough chaff up in the air for that missile to run into before it hits you. You might be able to knock it off course or destroy it because it's moving so fast.
Yep.
That makes sense.
You call it my get off. You call it the get off my lawn gun.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Back in Korea, we used to take little fucks like you, stack you up, use you for sandbags.
Oh man. Well, I think we've taken this one far enough. What do you think, Ronnie?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We bullshitted long enough. We barely scratched the surface of World War III, but
I think we hit the pertinent points of what's going on today, though.
I suppose I gotta go to bed. So
Things are definitely escalating. So anyway,
get your weapons ammo. Have a month's worth of water and a month's worth of food, and if you can get through that first month before you start running out of food, there'll be plenty of food lying around that you can go get, and you won't have to kill anyone for it because they're already dead.
if you find yourself standing in an empty field filled with poppies, rejoice, for you are already dead, and you are in Elysium.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
No, we're from Maine, dude. We're from Hardy stock.
yep.
We're survivors up here in Maine.
I'm a Maine dude. I'm a scrapper.
Not all of us, because Maine's a big welfare state. They rely on the government to take care of them. But there's some of us that don't toe that line.
Yep.
Us true Mainers, we're self-reliant.
True Mainers. All right. So if you want to hit us up, you can find us at supernaturalbeerbros@gmail.com or SBBpod on Instagram at the DMs. And we're on all the major podcast platforms and YouTube under the same name. And I say that's just about it. This has been Beer Bros History Hour bullshit session. And we're signing out.